as I sat this morning listening, as I was in bed, listening to the radio a little bit, I heard a few stories that really surprised me. Somebody had gotten cancer from Roundup that was being sprayed on the field right next door, and he took Monsanto, which is now Bayer, to court, and he successfully sued him for $298 million. Okay. So now it's $250 million of it was punitive. And Monsanto's reaction was, well, although we sympathize with this man who's now got cancer, well, we're going to contest this in court. We're going to go back and try to do a retrial. Anyway, then there was another story that came on, and they talked about how Erdogan, this guy who's the president or prime minister or whatever of Turkey, he's not happy with Trump and how he's been just throwing tariffs on things all over the place, and he's pretty sure that he's going to, I can't remember what sort of retaliatory measure he was going to take, but there was something like that, right? And I was just reminded about how, you know, all the little facts that come to us all day long, each sort of line up in a way that's like reducing fear, keeping us from, I mean, what could we do about either one of those things? And I think that it's interesting how, you know, this group is formed, and I think it has to do with people that want to do something. It's like we all recognize problems in the world, and we might each recognize a different problem, but it's all kind of related to the same thing. Whether it's financial, whether it's healing, whether it's food, gardening, you know, whatever the situation is that sort of brings us in. In any case, I wanted to share with you a couple things. Well, so I wanted to this morning. I wanted to give an update, kind of what's going on in the national Ubuntu scene, if you will. And I don't have a lot of things, but I did get recently a couple of emails, and just thought I'd share some of this stuff. We were just now talking a little bit about how sometimes people who have been working together on a project, and then all of a sudden they disagree, and then it doesn't work, and they separate. There's burnout. And this is an example. This guy, Brandon Shelton, I've met him, and he's an amazing businessman with a well, according to the book, we talk about having there be a razor-sharp business plan, right? So, and he's really inspirational in terms of how to set up a 501c3 plan and how to get a good profit stream going and that sort of thing. He I can't remember if it's Dallas or I think it might be Dallas. Anyway, he's from down that way, and he had he was growing hops indoors and creating this business. And he created a business model for converting a building into being able to provide food for a large community. And then we would utilize the free labor of Ubuntu people and turn it into a profitable adventure. Anyway, you can see right here in this email, since departing from Michael Tellinger last October as the co-creator of the One Small Town presentation, you guys have seen that, it's really awesome. The YouTube video called One Small Town. Yeah, okay. I'm moving forward with the inspired movement of creating a Ubuntu village. I'm in the process of raising capital to create the first Ubuntu village in Tampa, Florida. So there's that. And then Michael responded with this from Africa. Hi all. Please note that we will be relaunching the Ubuntu movement with a new focused strategy. We cannot be all things to all people, and from the head office side cannot get involved in thousands of projects. Please hang on there for another couple weeks or so. We have a fresh, focused approach towards growing Ubuntu in the future and achieving success with One Small Town. So I don't know exactly what this means, but I'm encouraged by this because it seems like it can be sort of difficult to have there be some connection with all these different groups of Ubuntu people who want to be doing contributionism all around the world, and there's not necessarily as good of a key strategy or sometimes I hear from people, you know, what can I do to help? I just want to just let me know what I should do and I'll help, and I'm happy to help. And then, but it's not easy to determine, well, what's the next step? What's the best thing for you to be doing? And so, so I think that's a good reason why we should just consider focusing on projects in general. So where a project could be anything from creating a new currency, or building a, I've got my little stove-powered battery charger back there. For anybody who's interested, I can show you that at the end of the meeting. Or, you know, growing a garden, or whatever the project is that you decide to do, then that way people would have an opportunity to get on board with it. And so if you just start doing it and sort of get some planning behind it, and then other people can get on board with it, then that would be, in my opinion, just a great way that we could flourish and have be generating a self-sustaining community with and cooperating on projects and stuff. Okay, that was that. And I wanted to switch over. So you guys, this is the Ubuntu book, and you can, I don't know if you've seen it, if you've heard about it. Okay, I'm just going to tell you a little piece out of all the different parts that this book talks about. So in general, this is Ubuntu Contributionism, a blueprint for human prosperity, and it brings up the fact that okay, the path that brought us here as a species is not only filled with lies and deception, but also with continuous manipulation of the human race that goes back thousands of years, all controlled by money. Okay, so that's sort of like a fundamental presupposition that it's all controlled by money. And so we have systems in place that government systems, financial systems, all kinds of systems in place that that sometimes when you first start looking into this, you think, well, the system must be broken. It's not working. And over time, I've come to the conclusion, no, the system is working exactly the way it was designed. That's what, and so, and those systems include things like capitalism, democracy, communism, virtually the same as capitalism, arguably. There's a bunch of systems, like the system of education, like all the systems that we have in place, they're working exactly the way that they were designed. And one of those systems is democracy, and otherwise often referred to as the majority rule model. So the democracy majority rule model has been shoved down our throats. Is just a cleverly disguised tool of control that pits people against each other, divide and conquer instead of unite and prosper. So, so what Ubuntu advocates is called the minority principle. This is where, if you start with, we're going to have a vote about something, and the vote, let's say it goes down 51% to 49%. Okay, well, for one thing, that was only a vote between two choices, and really we have a lot of choices. And for another thing, now all of a sudden you've got 49% of the people are losers, right? I voted that way, but we lost. The other team won, and now we got to go that way, right? Well, that's a built-in system. It's part of our system, democracy, voting. And the minority rule principle applies that everybody gets to do it. Everybody gets to do what they want. And if you have, well, here, let me just read another little portion here. The minorities and small interest groups then have to take their gripes and proposals to those who won the majority. And we all know what happens to the minority groups and their needs. Democracy is not a sustainable model and does not serve the people fairly. It is a system that subtly promotes a divide and conquer philosophy. So I just wanted to point that out, that when we have projects that people present, and I really want to encourage that. Let's bring projects up that you want to take on to do. Some people aren't going to get into that kind of project, right? But that doesn't stop you, because you don't need to get 51% of the vote in this room. You can have, in the minority principle, and I think another good example is people who care about bees. Well, all of a sudden, you've got this small group of people that really care about the bees, and this massive government that has the money they need is just saying, no, it's not enough. You guys don't even have a consensus. Imagine what would happen if it wasn't completely controlled by money and you could just do whatever you want as a small group and benefit the bees. Okay, well,
Do you have any comments on that while we're waiting?
yeah, you know what? That's about all I really wanted to present, and so please do.